Not the music you were expecting? Know what you're getting into with your music and your internet. Straight Up Internet is $50 all in, no hidden fees. And like this music, you can even pause it. Straight Up Internet, know what you're getting into.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Masked Raider of Conspiracy, and the Force is strong with me. You're listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. I'm joined by
Jah Jah,
the greatest co-host in the world, Jah Jah.
You know it, y'all. It's been a crazy week, Bruce.
Thank you for joining us. It is December 18th, 2015, and how this year has just flown right past us like Kylo Ren's lightsabers flying past Han Solo, I hear.
Yeah, like Battleship Galactica.
Oh, like battleships and Marine robots in space and battleships flying around the Earth. I mean, you know how they release these fake hacks. You know what I think? They got this story out there that the Marines have battleships and in space. I know they're working on robots, marine robots, but I mean battleships in space. I mean that's just propaganda to push George Lucas's Disney military-industrial complex Jesuit Sith money.
Absolutely, Bruce. I believe that
like
it's
57 million already.
Yeah, I mean it's just the one thing about the Germans is that I've dealt with a lot of them and they're very wonderful people, but they're very frugal. And years ago, remember when I was doing some business over there, at the one point, Germany had the highest amount of money in savings per household in their savings account. And they were very careful. They're very calculating in how they spend their money. And being that there's so many Germans or former Germans, newly American since Operation Paperclip in America and involved with NASA, I feel like they would not waste their money on this kind of battleship. I think there is something up there, and what is up there is their battle upon us, you, the American people, the entire Earth, where they can spy and they have a high...
But again, I'm not counting out the fact that they can reverse engineer this craft. I mean, the Germans, that's one of the reasons, you mentioned Operation Paperclip, one of the main reasons that the Germans were brought over was because their technology was so coveted by the Americans.
You say that, Bruce, but, I've been doing some reading, and I agree with you. But I also think that these people were brought over because they wanted to bury their wealth. And they paid money to come to America. Mm-hmm. And they pillaged and robbed the Jews. And they took that money and they buried it here.
Speaking of Nazis, I saw a news article that stated that Hitler has one testicle.
I don't believe that. That's like keep dreaming.
Yeah, and he lived to 95 in Brazil with his Brazilian lover.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I thought he was living in the Andes Mountains in Argentina.
There's always a million things, but it all leads to pretty much Argentina. He could have gone to Brazil. There's a town in Brazil. It's basically all German, and it's where Gisele Bündchen is from. It's called Florianopolis. And thousands of Brazilians went there.
Like German Barbie dolls over there, right?
They all blonde hair. Everybody's right. Blonde hair, blue eyes. They speak Portuguese, but they did run there after the war, and they used their Operation Lebensborn program and bread. And you'll find that most of the people there have blonde hair, blue eyes.
And that's the thing. That's the thing on these talk radio networks and all these outlets out there that say they're alternative media, but meanwhile, we're the excellence of radio execution. We're the best in alternative media. We expose what the others are too afraid to expose. But that's the thing. These Nazis, they try to rule with fear.
the thing is
don't they try to rule with fear?
yes, Bruce, and absolutely. And that's what I think that a lot of this stuff is that we hear, the survivalist thing, and they always want to make you scared.
Just a bunch of hoaxes for stupid folkses.
They want to control people, and I have bad news to tell you, my friends, that the Nazis did win. And just as if you remember a couple of years ago when the Palestinians and the Israelis were fighting, they told the Palestinians that they won, and they were celebrating with babies in the air. And they had all these deaths on them.
And those babies got the meanest look in their eyes, too. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, but it was this reverse psychology, Bruce, and they basically flipped it upon them, and they were all very convinced that they won, just as I believe that the Americans, I think, think that we won against the Germans. That's a hoax. That's a lie. Just as the same thing as the Revolutionary War. We did not win the Revolutionary War. This is an American hoax that is perpetrated upon
That's why I entered Bill Hicks's comedy contest because he's a funny guy, and we know it's just shits and giggles, right? We're not expecting nothing from good old, Hicks, but that's the thing. It's just a dynastic reptile orgy. These people are all related to the Queen. Hillary's related to the Queen. That retard turned gangster Jeb Bush is related to the Queen. He's related to Aleister Crowley. I mean, come on. It's all one big satanic Jesuit Freemasonic reptile orgy.
Yeah, it's the monarch. And you will notice that, what do you think copyright royalties are?
Royalties, again. Royalties. You become a star, and you're entitled to royalties. You see what I'm saying, folks?
And these stars are monarch programming. What's monarch programming? You all might have heard of that, through the conspiracy sites and everything. That's like, monarch butterfly, but they go through this, sex and some kind of like a personality transformation that they try to gear, control, and program the person.
They try to twist the people's minds. And that's the thing. That's what this whole Star Wars theme right now is that's going on. They're twisting people's minds. They're getting people distracted with the Rosicrucian deity Yoda, who was a scheduled Rosicrucian deity by Manly P. Hall. So that's what they're putting on around the displays in Target for you to buy your little kids. And, they love Darth Vader. I got that Darth Vader beanie.
Yeah.
But Darth Vader, when he was young, sacrificed
Bruce has a hat.
Darth Vader, when he was young, sacrificed a bunch of kids in order to join the Sith, to join the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the Empire. Who's the Empire? They strike back. You see, with all these false flag hoaxes for stupid folks, is these drills that they just propagate left and right from Sandy Hook to San Bernardino, which was the murder capital of the world. I mean, the fact they pull that off, it's a crime-ridden, disgusting place, and only people like Obama or La Chola, Hillary Clinton, would even try to use San Bernardino because it's the most disgusting place. Look, I hung out in L.A.
It's not Compton. It's not Bed-Stuy.
I lived out in Riverside, and let me tell you something. People from Riverside, from that area, they neglect to ever mention anything about San Bernardino. It's like non-existent, non-incorporated. Like only stupid ass Army psyops would go out there, and that's what's going on. Now, I'm gonna give the people a spoiler, folks, because it's just. You really want to make it, or he's saying that he didn't run it or Disney took it over. They're still making money. They're all a bunch of Masons making money, and I'm gonna drop the biggest spoiler of them all. Han Solo's son, who turns to the dark side, who is actually Darth Vader's grandson, because that's Princess Leia's son, because Han and Leia had a kid after A New Hope. And I'm allowed to be a dork today. Mm-hmm. All right?
Yes.
So this guy, Kylo Ren, from the order of the Templars, basically. That's what they're calling it. That's what they're saying he's from. He's from an order of the Knights of Ren. Isn't that the first order? And he slays his father. So there you see, Star Wars actually has a very dark meaning. They've actually depicted like what we're going to talk about with the GOP debate, how it's the GOP debate from hell. They've depicted people like Donald Trump, who you could easily compare him to Hitler. You see people just letting liberty die with thunderous applause.
Yeah.
See how they applaud these Republican agents of the Illuminati? That's every single one of those candidates up there is an agent for the Illuminati. Every single candidate, every single Republican candidate. I mean, you got that Ted Cruz, who I cannot stand that.
He's
Ted
ridiculous.
Cruz with his commie father, okay, who probably wants to bring in more commies, and they probably had something to do with Op 40. I don't freaking know. But that guy, I can't stand it. Every time he's at a podium, he has to be like Mr. Valiant, and he always put this put on of just valiance. It's disgusting. And here's the thing. His ass got caught doing the master of the second veal pose. He stuck his little hand inside his pocket when everybody else was supposed to be pledging allegiance to the Fourth Reich. He put his hand inside his pocket, and then the same thing with Paul Ryan, who's putting his hands inside everyone's pocket as they're kicking the can down the road once again with $11 trillion to run this criminally bankrupt, corrupt government. You got Paul Ryan sticking his hand inside his pocket to the newly elected Speaker of the freaking House because, the old one was too much of a pussy and he was always crying. That boner or whatever. You know what I mean? They tell you. Google, despite the fact it's a mass surveillance tracking system, sometimes they enlighten you. That's why China wants to censor the internet, right? And then again, you have that absolute fascist wants to make America fascist again. Donald Trump talking about he's going to take America back to like being a China or North Korea type censorship.
Well, what he's saying, and also
absolutely insane.
Also, Trump is saying so many things about taking away one's rights and deporting Muslims. It's the same thing as that they said about the Jews. I mean, this is like rhetoric, regardless of whether he believes it means it or will even enforce it. The fact is that he's perpetrating it, and he's using that rhetoric, and he openly admits that he reads Mein Kampf.
Yeah, well, he didn't openly admit that. One of his hoes, because he's a pimp. One of his hoes admitted it, and it's so easy to compare Trump to Hitler. He does it to himself. Look, Hitler used racism to rise to power. Trump's using racism to rise to power. Hitler proposes mass deportations. Trump's deporting mass deportations. Hitler promised to make Germany great again. Trump promises to make America fascist again. You have Hitler, who was an anti-Jew fascist, Jesuit, and you have Trump, who's an anti-Muslim Jesuit fascist, trained in Fordham University. And you have Hitler, who blames the Jews for all of Germany's problems. You have Trump, who blames
the Mexicans.
Jesus, who just slangs oranges and roses on the side of the 91 freeway for all of America's problems. And then you have, this is the biggest one of them all, how this guy is unelectable, and anybody who even thinks about voting for Donald Trump or even just endorses him
is a shill,
is a complete and total shill.
Or dumb. Or just...
just an absolute shill.
Or dumb.
Because, listen to me, the Jews should wear special IDs. Who said that? Adolf Hitler says it. Well, you know what Trump wants? Trump wants Muslims to wear special IDs. What, biometric chips? What, RFID? Tracking systems?
Let me tell you something about Muslims. I know so many black Muslims that are American blacks that were like Baptists. They switched to Islam. I know Muslims that are from the Punjab region in India. And even in Paki, I know Pakistani Muslims. I mean, there's Muslim, the religion is not indicative to a particular country, and you cannot...
Well, Islam itself, we know, was created by the Jesuits, and it means submit. So they to me, are no different than the Catholics. But again, you know them a little bit more. I mean, they're a little bit way more spread out here in New York as opposed to Los Angeles.
Well, it's hard to sum up any person by a religion, just like I can't stand when people try to say Jews are all this, when we know very well that 99% of the Jews that people think are Jews are not even Jews. They're not. We've traced...
exactly. They want to say,
the Rothschilds,
Jewish families.
The
what about the Bushes? What about the Bushes? Another disgrace.
Yeah, Alex Jones was great.
Retard loser, freaking Jeb Bush, who is from one of the most notorious Nazi families that funded Hitler. Okay, you had Bush, Daddy Bush Sr., big
Prescott.
government, Prescott Bush.
Transferring funds, even
Daddy Bush was there
even
on
the
scene.
IRS got
On
him
scene
back
when they
in the-
whacked JFK. I mean, he ate with that Hinckley family who tried to kill fucking Reagan. I mean, come on.
Alex Jones did a fantastic job this week of really breaking down the whole Jeb Bush thing and the Bush family dynasty, and he even mentioned that the Tafts and the Bushes.
Oh yeah, he does a good job when he's not drunk, right? And then just once he hits the sauce, he's a total neocon, and he wants to go bomb a CIA-made paramilitary outfit. I mean, that's not libertarian at all. That's not libertarian at all. No one should want to go to war in Syria. Okay, like you say, Syria is serious. It's definitely gotten serious, but no chance in hell. We're already bankrupt. This government is criminally corrupt and bankrupt. They have no business intervening in any more unconstitutional and undeclared wars.
I don't think we're bankrupt. I think the money is all is being co-opted.
We will be bankrupt if they keep making embassies in Afghanistan for no goddamn reason. And you know Social Security's gone. You're never going to see that again. So you idiots that think that Social Security is there, it's gone. You'll never see it. Won't see one dime.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with the 401ks. You know, they're just taking and they're scamming. There's always somebody to try to scam you. I would just keep vigil. You know, everybody's always trying to scam everybody these days. The world's very different. After 9/11, I think everything got very evil. People got mad, like devious, and it's like they got possessed with Baal, you know. And they walk around, and it's always about how to mess up another person, how to hurt another person. Because I think in the end, you know, with the whole, I believe that it's all Jesuit and propagated and comes directly from the Vatican because it serves them, and
that's what Star Wars, the film, promotes. They have this new religion. Now, Jediism, it's not new. It's based off the film, but you know what? It's not even Jediism at all. It's Druidism. It's Freemasonry. Okay, the logo for Jediism, it's crazy. I mean, it's absolute Star Wars mania right now. Is a Jesuit cross with what appears to look like an Islamic moon. So there you have like the formation of all these religions into one. You know, the Masons have all three books on their altar. So that's again, they're trying to make the one world order. That's what the Star Wars film's trying to bring about. And fear for that, because now they fear, but then you see that the Reich is totally behind this film. In China, because you know China has become the new Nazi, the new rising sun. Again, that's where the Illuminati phrase "a new day" comes from. You have China, the poster for Star Wars. The black character was minimized. Nobody says a thing. I mean, that's a little blatantly racist, I think. I mean,
right.
We minimize the black character on the poster.
No, it's just oh, yeah, you know, the Metropolitan...
It's not the worst thing China does, though. I mean, they'll rip your liver out.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm speaking of, like, racism. I meant to say it last week, but there's, like, a lawsuit going on. Somebody's suing the Metropolitan Museum of Art for being racially biased against Leonardo da Vinci painting of, I think this was da Vinci's painting or some depiction of Jesus. Oh, and God. He was trying to say that, I guess it was a black man, and he was trying to say, it's a real lawsuit, and he was trying to say that that the image of Jesus is wrong, and you know, you're trying to perpetrate an image. This is like mad stupid.
The image of Mithra is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
The image of Dionysus is wrong. The image of Attis is wrong, and 1,000 other deities. Anyway, folks.
The end of the lawsuit should be they can't prove that Jesus existed in the first place, so how do they know what color he is? So it's a moot.
It's just a hoax. It's just a hoax for stupid folks.
People really file fake lawsuits. When I have a real lawsuit and it totally goes to bong, it's totally when I trace my judge to Nazis and we go into the actual courtroom and we see swastikas everywhere, owls everywhere. Everybody knows everybody. You know, it's one big happy...
Masonic handbooks in courtrooms, you name it.
No matter how much law, no matter how
Ordo,
much...
Seclorum, Satanic Baphomet, George Washington symbolism. Yeah, it's all there.
I did everything. I was calling Rule of Law Radio. They were really helpful. I mean, I did what I could. I filed grievances, bar grievances, all kinds of things. I did it pro se. But there was a certain point where I realized no matter how knowledgeable I am with law and how many cases I have to back me up, they were not going to let a pro se win. There was no way. And no matter how much, politicking, as Randy Kellum would say, try to get political leverage and by filing these bar grievances and stepping on the... And I did what I could.
The judges, the lawyers, the police officers, it's a free Masonic infiltration of the criminal justice system. You lose. They win. There's no chance in hell. That's why you have Putin walking around like he's like Vince McMahon with this swagger. These guys, man, there's no stopping these guys. They're all freaking Masons.
Yeah, I traced the guy that I was suing to Bertrand Russell. And now the Russell family, the Trust family, supposedly that's what, according to Jones, that they started the Skull and Bones. So I was suing the Skull and Bones.
You were suing a bunch of homos who like to jerk off in coffins with one another.
And no, outside in the middle of the street, screaming from what I remember on TMZ. But whatever, regardless, besides the point.
But that was your famous image, plant your feet on the ground, that's been exhibited in the Whitney. And yes, that whole operation, that whole 2012 Coney crap was just, they used propaganda in order to get into Uganda. Yeah. Obviously, the CIA, they want the natural resources.
Obama was behind
targeting all sorts of countries for their natural resources, and they pushed it as some child slave war. And speaking of, you said being possessed by Baal and child slaves, you have the Pope. Again, Pope dope. It's Pope Watch 20. It's going to be Pope Watch 2016 pretty soon. But you have it was his birthday, okay, and
Wasn't it Eminem's birthday too?
I don't. Oh God, I'm talking about the Pope here.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So
but they're all white, white.
Anyway, the Pope, not a bag of candies. They sent him all sorts of little ones, like if they were candies, he's over there tonguing them. Did you see that? On NBC, the Pope was just like French kissing a little girl, and he had 3 little boys giving kisses. I mean, this Pope,
that's speculative. That's speculative.
Circle satanic Pope already disappeared up to 30,000 children in Argentina, and this shit-stained Pope is still being brought kids to kiss. This Baal worshipping, Leviathan worshipping heathen, this satanic Jesuit, just pedophile scum is being brought children to grow up. I mean, it's disgusting. The Pope needs to be shackled to the catacombs, the darkest catacombs of the Vatican. I mean, he probably liked that. You have some Opus Dei guys whipping.
What I don't understand is that if I had a birthday party, I certainly wouldn't want a bunch of little 5 and 6-year-olds, and why?
Yeah, where's the Trump piñata?
Okay, so where's that? That's suspicious. Why are there like a lineup of little babies, and then why are they kissing him? And the one kid wanted to walk away, and like you said, his mouth was open.
No, there was a little girl that he was trying to stick a French kiss.
How do you know it was French kiss?
Oh, come on. Just watch the video on NBC, and you'll see that there's a goddamn Masonic pedophile Pope that's part of the Ninth Circle satanic cult that's being brought gallivanted with children on his freaking satanic high priest birthday.
Did he open his mouth?
I mean, the Pope...
He opened his mouth, you said, right?
He lives in a giant Masonic lodge with a huge Masonic obelisk in the front. I mean, the cross itself, ladies and gentlemen, is a Illuminati symbol. I mean, it's an image of what if... I don't worship Mithra here, but if your mother or father was nailed to a freaking cross and killed, would you put it on? No, you wouldn't, right? It's a very horrific, traumatizing symbol, and that's what Freemasons do. You see their lodges, they have the most powerfully negative imagery to make you feel like you're nothing. And that's what that cross is. It's an unholy, satanic emblem, and you've seen it all over just the world. They have infiltrated the Roman Catholic Church, of course.
You said something really amazing this week, and it was perfect because you said that the Catholicism was the perfect religion for Nazis.
Yes.
Because you thought that at the end of the day they could do whatever they want, raping, pillaging, killing, robbing.
And they could just repent like hypocrites.
And then in the end they can just say, yes, okay, we're going to get, This is save me. This is my salvation. Please, please. I paid for my salvation. Okay, you're absolved. Jesus died for your sins, so you can keep sinning. And there is that Hegelian dialectic within the religion, within the religious discourse itself.
But what do you expect from these guinea jackals who are the offspring of two bastards that sucked on a jackal's tits in Iran? You're not going to get nice people. These P2 scumbags, and then their Visigothic German handlers.
Yeah. I think, Bruce, I wanted to just say that the reason why I think my stuff was stolen and then they didn't want to even settle for a nominal amount, I think it's because I'm Jewish.
Absolutely.
I would never even think I would ever say this.
Let me tell you this.
Crazy.
The Vatican is completely evil.
So weird.
They run everybody. Please let me finish. The Vatican practices Rosicrucian sorcery. Okay? They invoke Beelzebub, Leviathan, Baal. I mean, they think Satan's cool and hip. He's a cool and hip dude. Whoa. That's what they're pushing.
Yeah.
That's what this Force Awakens movie's pushing. Nothing but Jesuitism.
Well, there's that movie we saw last night.
And the candidates in the GOP are all agents of the Illuminati. Every single one of them. They might as well all put on the friggin' Count Dooku robe and red lightsaber because they're all
You're
evil
totally
bastards.
right about the Baal worship movie. We saw this movie last night, Horns with, what's his face? Elijah Wood, the one that looks like Eminem, with the horns,
Right, and then there's an Anthony Hopkins film too where he's an exorcist and going to the Vatican and they admit that they worship Baal.
Yeah, they were admitting it. They said when they were trying to get rid of, it was great, Anthony Hopkins, I mean, he was trying to get rid of this demon. They were all discussing, look for the names, Baal, Beelzebub.
Leviathan, right?
Right, they gave a few names.
Yeah, the thing about that guy, he reminds me of this Nazi.
We need to call upon them, he said.
He reminds me of this Nazi that looks
Troost,
like
Ludwig
Troost, I believe.
Ludwig Troost, yeah, looks like him.
Well, that's the thing. These evil Jesuits are handled by the Vatican. The Nazis, they're handled by the Vatican. They might as well all be just high priests, satanic sorcerers, Rosicrucian practicing practitioners, and you have this installed into modern day film. You see the three branches of government really are the military, corporate, and Hollywood, and they're pushing Yoda, a Rosicrucian deity.
Yeah, and the Nazis were behind the Hollywood.
Absolutely.
And actually...
Rustic Canyon, 1930.
What I discovered, what I kind of spotted this week was John Voight, Angelina Jolie's father. He looks identical to Anthony Hopkins. I mean, I pulled up these pictures of them. Just pull up their pictures. I'm sure that when people see John Voight on the street, they probably ask him for his signature and thinks he's Anthony Hopkins because he looks so much like him. And I don't know why people don't notice or they haven't said anything or maybe they just haven't back-to-back them. But anybody could just see it. Just back-to-back them and look at it. The face is so apparent, even their aging, their eyes.
And that's exactly what we do.
They're probably brothers.
That's exactly what we do on this show. We take off the totalitarian shackles, folks. We expose the Freemasonic societies. We are relentless.
We don't take off the shackles. We just use our First Amendment while we still can. That's all.
No, but seriously, these Nazi Jesuits, I mean, they must be stopped. Okay? Every temple they put up in a neighborhood is an assault to a free humanity. They want to enslave non-Masons.
Have you ever seen so many churches and Masonic images in a neighborhood in all of your life, Bruce?
And here's the thing: they infiltrate the Arab community. Okay, the Freemasons do, and then they want everybody to turn on them, just like they turned on the Jews. And everywhere you go, it's terror, 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 jihad, jihad, jihad. I even wrote a song. It's called Jihad, 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 Jihad.
Yeah, Bruce and I are thinking about doing an album together. Actually.
No, that's what it is. That's the mantra they just propagate over and over and over again. The NLP to brainwash people into thinking that Turkey and halal slangers are evil people.
I don't know.
When all they want to do is sell you some pita and some really, really good tuna.
Yeah, they make good tuna and they have good halava.
No, but it's jihad.
You get some garbanzo beans from them, some doma, stuffed grape leaves we like. The baba ganoush,
I'll tell
we
you
make it
something.
ourselves.
Let me tell you something. We shouldn't go after the freaking Arabs. You know who we should go after? Not the goat eye eaters. Forget about them, okay? They're radicalized by the CIA. Those are fake Muslims.
Yeah.
You should go after Ted Cruz. And people like Ted Cruz want to bring in their commie freaking Operation 40 freaking fathers in here.
And their global warming policy.
Communist freaking family members.
And they're trying so hard to push the global
master
warming.
Of the second veal.
Their policies for they're just want to push the taxes, the high taxes, and they're going to make you believe that you're making the earth warm when they actually have it on the record.
Well, that's what that is mass Masonic brainwashing. Okay, they're doing that because they have to prepare the people's minds for the day, the total day where they're all chipped and you have to bow down to them because they're the self-proclaimed masters of the universe.
We are
it's
chipped.
Total BS.
We are chipped.
You need to stand up right now.
Bruce, excuse me, but we are chipped. We all have like credit cards and bank cards that have chips in them. So, their policy.
And I'll tell you something else. That whole climate change that you mentioned, that whole climate change hoax, that whole push is just Earth and Gaia worship. Okay? They want you to kill yourself to save the planet. Yes. That's what that is.
Yeah, I heard them talking the other day on the news about it's better to be a vegetarian. You can actually lose weight, which is a total fallacy. You can actually lose weight if you eat a high protein, even a high fat diet, low carb. Vegetarianism, most of them try to eat like the cheeses, and they can eat bread.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. We're doing like a Mediterranean diet, right?
Yeah. But the news actually tells you the absolute wrong, the absolute opposite.
The opposite.
Absolute opposite. And they're telling you that, what's fattening? Granola, peanut butter, that's vegetarian. All those things are so fattening.
Well, that's what it is. Everything.
Cake,
let me tell
cookies.
you something. Everything that you think you haven't figured out already. Oh, it's this. I haven't determined it's this. Everything that you think, it's not what you think. Yeah. It's the complete and total opposite. Woods, huh? It's the complete and total opposite. It's like they say, it's the Club of Jews that's running everything. No, it's not the Club of Jews. It's the Club of Rome, last time I checked.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Jones said something like that. The Bushes have trillions of dollars. And they are really, really,
if anything, they are at the top.
At the top, yeah. They're at the top. Why when you look at the 13... Pyramid. Why when you look at all those, all the conspiracy people, and you try to blame the 13 families, which none are Jews, Bush never comes in. But the Bushes, how come they have trillions? I know most of their stuff's funneled into, Paraguay. I think they have, a lot of property there. Of course, South America, it's, the way to go.
No, but Trump, you could pay I gotta give Trump a little bit of just praise here, just 2%.
He's fun
because he did expose that loser Jeb Bush. He exposed the fact that, that family is just disgusting. That Bush family was in charge of the security over at the Twin Towers. That Jeb Bush got somebody whacked in Florida, a governor, so he could take over.
You don't know that. Did he go to jail for it?
It's also speculative that Daddy Bush was there as a young CIA guy, then doesn't remember, right? And then he's helping the Op 40 guys who are probably related to Ted Cruz's freaking Canadian, Cuban, whatever the hell he is ass.
Yeah,
Canadian? Really? We got a freaking Canadian running... How could Jim Morrison, Rush Limbaugh, even take this guy Ted freaking Cruz seriously? Cruz? Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants to take America and cruisify it. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. He just uses his Latino name, which is probably given to him by the FBI.
Just like that Republican water boy that went missing. It's on a milk carton that schmuck freaking Marco Rubio, the water boy. I can't stand that guy.
Speaking of kids on milk cartons, there was that whole revival of Aton Pates. People were curious about, this missing child. And,
going down the rabbit hole.
And we exposed something several weeks ago regarding John Benet Ramsey being Katy Perry, which we found identical.
That went viral.
And that
exposed news alternative.
Yeah, and then we link it all to Laurel Canyon and government psyops and they're wanting to control the message to the medium. But after they were bringing up the whole Aton Pates thing and the missing child, and there seems to be a pattern of these missing kids. And you know, I just took a look at the kid, and because I'm getting really good at this, I said, wait a second, I know that smile. That's that Kimmel smile. And then I was like, wait a second, that's that Max Kimmel guy who was like a Nazi, and who's I think is related to Jimmy Kimmel, but it actually wasn't. I looked at the face.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel broadcasts right down the street in a
street,
building
200 yards
filled
away,
with swastikas.
500 yards away from us, once a week. But it actually is Jimmy Fallon. Because I checked everything, I looked at the faces, and I'm sure I didn't even go as far as look at Kimmel and Fallon next to each other. But in my mind's eye, they look so similar they could be brothers. And then I just focused on Fallon because the dates of Aton Pates were lined up, exact, and their faces were identical of Aton Pates. And
okay, so this guy Jimmy Fallon is Aton Pates, the freaking kid on a lost milk carton.
Yes.
Okay, so he was probably on the last milk carton. This week you have Marco Rubio on the milk carton, and that's a huge bombshell. Really, it is. I mean, look it up, folks. I mean, she's a freaking anatomy, just artistic guru. So you're not gonna debunk Jah Jah.
The same face, the same eyes, the same.
In the Stratford Wars Command Studio has your facial depictions up on their walls.
Yes.
So I mean, that tells you something. They're probably the best. But here's the thing: we were talking about Republican milk boys and water boys, and I'm telling you, these Republican candidates are all working with the Democrats. It's one big orgy, big bipartisan establishment orgy. And if anyone tweets, okay, let's say the Republicans win. Let's say the Republicans win. If anyone tweets under a Republican president, they'll be locked up. And if anyone Facebooks, it'll be a felony because they'll think you're jihad, 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 jihad. All right? They're just revamping total fascism, folks. They want to revamp the Patriot Act. They want increased mass surveillance. Every single one of those candidates up there, when I saw that stupid episode of Jeopardy. No, wait. The GOP is not Jeopardy. They're too stupid to be Jeopardy. It's like American Idol.
Right.
When we saw American Idol, all they talked about was how they wanted to help the NSA and the NDAA is good. And you have Krispy Kreme donuts who's laid off the Krispy Kremes apparently, and he didn't eat this podium. Probably had some liposuction under his freaking
he
fat.
Looks like he's losing weight.
Fupa.
It's embarrassing to be on the camera.
Anyway, this guy is no different than freaking Peter Griffin talking about 9/11, and then you have that horse face Fiorina talking about 9/11 every single minute. That's what I'm telling you. They're singing the 9/11 jihad, 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 jihad song. That's all that debate was. Terror, jihad, 9/11, terror, jihad, 9/11, terror, jihad, 9/11. I mean,
Carly
it
Fiorina
could drive somebody insane watching that.
She's such a poser.
It's funny that we have a sense of humor. We could put up with these dumbasses.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, Carly Fiorina is so laughable. I mean, I couldn't even see her as a president in a movie like her father, Aaron Spelling. Aaron Spelling wouldn't even cast her as president in one of his freaking films.
Look, every single one of those neocons want war with Russia, except for the Noah's Brotherhood, woman kidnapping, pot forcing, freaking kidnapping midget Rand Paul. And what did he talk about? He was talking about a secret handshake. You remember that?
He said about a secret handshake. Because I don't know the secret handshake to that.
Oh, yeah, of course he doesn't. Yeah, with a big old fake nose on his freaking face. They called him Randy back in the day. And then his dad is a total occultist, Ron Paul. Just a pagan, really.
NAMBLA.
Rosicrucian.
Involved with NAMBLA.
Rosicrucian. I mean, Ron Paul puts
Boy
his...
love.
Oh, yeah, he even supported NAMBLA. How can anybody support Rand Paul when he's on the record supporting NAMBLA? And he was going to get down in a hotel with Bruno.
With Sacha Cohen. He was going to have him, like, upside down and backwards.
I thought he was RuPaul. I was quite disappointed.
Yeah, RuPaul. Yeah. Whoa. And Ron Paul ran out like a little bitch. But, all in all, let me just explain to you that their policy, they're there to co-opt you all, the Pauls. They are there to be the voice of the patriot, which is assuming that, you know, we all, or everybody in the patriotic movement thinks the same. And they try to gravitate to several talking points, such as like abortion or healthcare, things like that, you know, and or survivalists. You know, they do speak a lot of the same rhetoric, but that is only to rally up everybody's support.
No, but Paul had some very good points. I mean, he advocated on how if you shoot down a Russian plane that was invited into the Syrian airspace, you're calling for World War III, and you're a complete and total war hawk, a warmonger. Well, and he called Krispy Kreme donuts. He told him to shove a big fat donut back in his freaking face because he's a warmonger.
But he's again,
he's a Nazi. We caught him hiling in the first Fox debate.
Okay, right, exactly. So they can go back and forth.
And that's the new thing.
Bruce, hey, you're a warmonger. Hey, Jah Jah, you're a warmonger. Jah Jah, ha ha, we're warmongers.
Let me tell you something. That's the new thing. You see, the Illuminati diamond got old. The OK Corral sign got old.
The hands in the pocket got old.
No, that's still hip. You see, Ted Cruz is doing it and Paul Ryan's doing it. But they got a new thing now.
Pointing finger.
They got a new thing now. They're all hiling.
They're out in the open. You know what? There's so few Jews left, and the few that are remaining don't even know what the hell's going on. No, they just think
they're totally oblivious. All they got to do is look at what's being propagated in the lamestream media, and they'll see absolutely everybody and everyone from freaking Ice Cube to Trump are hiling.
Right. So basically, the real deal is that the Nazis won the war. They are the ones in control. They are propagating their master race, their master plan. They're the ones that are controlling the media, your books, what you can watch on Netflix, on Amazon.
Those who control the past control the present, and those who control the future control the past. And the Nazis have put themselves in a position of total control, and that's what Trump's saying, that they need to be tougher, that this country is out of control, when in reality they are in total control.
And I have a song called Total Control. A really cool guy made this video for me, but you can hear it on YouTube. Just type in Jah Jah Total Control, and you'll see, probably have heard it or heard renditions of it, you know, different appropriations of my original song. But yeah, it's all about the government, you know, martial law and rule city. Yeah, total control. You gotta check that out.
But, you know, Trump said total control, but really what he meant was he wants total control of Ted Cruz's ass, probably, because it's a bunch of steers and queers, homo love affair with Trump. I mean, seriously, I saw a picture of Ted Cruz and Trump, and they're about to like French kiss, like the Pope French kissing those kids on their birthday.
Well, they're all puppets in a play, you know? They're all taking a position. They know who's going to win, and right now they're just all playing a game.
But that's the thing. They've swindled us with this movie. They were able to pass that hidden hand occultist Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, was able to pass this budget to once again kick the can down the road. Paul did break through, and you know the thing with the Pauls, I just expose them as Rosicrucian pagans and Freemasons, but they expose a little bit of truth.
Yeah, because what they do is they take everybody's talking points, like you and I.
Yes, but he exposed the fact that government borrows millions per minute. And that's the thing, they're swindling people.
Who do they borrow from? The American people.
The very lightsaber on The Force Awakens is a Jesuit symbol of the cross. Okay, and again, it's killing the Father with the cross. How satanic is that?
Okay, but you even yourself you found an article that traced one of the Pauls somehow to Hitler. You know, or maybe there was one of Hitler's spawn that was illegitimate bastard child. He got some friends that made
some facial comparisons, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Some other friends that made a facial comparison and said that and then found the article that Hitler had a spawn over in France. Anyway, could very well be, not sure, unclear about that. But still, the fact is that they are part of the Masonic New World Order, and they are just playing a position. Do not put your false hopes, like the Pope, into a guy like Ron Paul or Rand Paul, because that's exactly like putting your hope in the Pope.
Well, you know, that's what they're going to do. They got a track record of letting people down on purpose, letting them right on their face. I mean, Rand Paul's no different than Rubio because they're both warmongers. Despite what Rand Paul says, they're both warmongers because they voted for sanctions against Iran, both of them. So there you go. You would have gone in, they would have gone into Georgia, and there would have been a conflict with Putin. And what's up with Trump is just like a complete homo. I mean, he's getting banged out like he did in Mr. Garrison in South Park.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he's got a bromo homo romance with Putin, with Puto Putin, whose swagger is like Vince McMahon of the WWE nowadays. He's like walking around, shucking and jiving. I mean, what's going on here?
I don't know, Bruce.
It's a complete and total just psyop upon the public. It's insanity. But again, liberty is dying with thunderous applause. It's Jeb the dork versus the Trump tard in this GOP debate from hell, which pretty much outlines complete and total totalitarian, authoritarian, just fascism.
It's a show. It's a show, and there's no choice, and you're going to get Hillary, so I don't care what anybody says. It's got nothing to do with anybody voting for me or whatever. Vote for her, vote for this, vote for that. I'm not behind anything or anyone. I'm just very, very intuitive.
They're really trying to make fascism great again, and they even have their token black in Ben Jefferson. Well, you figured that out, right?
You did.
We did, yeah. He looks like the spitting image of Thomas Jefferson. And you know Thomas Jefferson, he loved...
A lot of slaves.
He always betted on black, yeah.
He banged out his slave people, huh? Well, it's what happened. A lot of these...
I did appreciate Ben Carson's American exceptionalism remark, though. That's the only
you already
thing.
Said that last week, so it doesn't matter. You appreciate it because... Maybe somebody was listening to you speaking like they usually do, try to take talking points.
But that's the thing. You're absolutely right. These Republicans are just working for the total Nazification of America. And if you think Trump is going to come out victorious or be a cavalier of sorts, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that Hillary's president.
Yeah, well, you know what? Don't forget, a guy like Trump spends a lot of money, goes in and out of bankruptcy court, a lot of business law and contract law, and, it's very good for him to be able to claim a lot of this stuff as a loss. If he does, when he doesn't win, he can, absolve all the money that he spent on his campaign because it costs a lot of money to do all this campaigning. And whatever, like $500 million that he lost on the campaign, he can deduct it as a loss, and therefore, whatever buildings
he's doing it for his income tax, or his tax write-off. That's the thing. No solutions. They just want bigger government, and it's Obama this and Hillary that, and Obama this and Hillary that, just pointing the finger and kicking the can down the road, like the commercial. I mean, the CNN commercials are atrocious when you watch that damn thing. I mean, they're pushing climate change. But they were right on one commercial where they had the donkey and the elephant just kicking the can down the road, and had the Republicans as elephants just making a whole bunch of noise. Like an elephant.
Farting. Oh, yeah. Wait, speaking of farting, what the hell happened with Art Art Bell?
Oh, that's a complete hoax. That guy is just wishy-washy. He says they're popping shots at him. That, if anything, he probably just looked into what happened to me. I actually had somebody try to come into one of my old studios with a handgun.
While you were on air?
After I'd gotten off air.
It was
an assault. That actually happened to me. I was able to maneuver my way out of the situation and prevail over that human being who tried to take my life. But apparently Art Bell has people popping shots at him. I think it's a big hoax. Yeah. I mean, they want you to think that it's the Gambino Italiano George Nori P2 Masonico going after him.
Scientology.
Because they got a beef, right?
Paranormal beef. It's paranormal beef. ParanormalWars.com.
You're on at the same time as me. I'm going to take you out.
I think that's what they want everybody to believe.
It's not Star Wars. It's Spreaker Wars. It's talk show wars. And that's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to listen to us, you can listen to us 24/7 on your iPad, on your iPhone, on your Android. You can listen to us every Friday live, 9 p.m. Eastern on TalkStreamLive.com. And I want to give a big shout out because we got some international listeners in Mexico, and we even have some people listening to us in India.
My friend. Wait till they hear my new. I have a Bollywood single coming out,
and that's probably why they're tuning in.
This week, my producer Quick Mix finally finished mastering Fake Jewels, which is just the most hardest.
Yeah, we're playing it here on WMBN, MBN Radio.
Yeah,
Network,
when I pull it together, we will release it, and you'll get to hear a few minutes of it on our show. But I really do want a formal release, Bruce. I mean, I don't really want you to keep playing that but yeah, I will have a video for it soon, and it will be for sale, and my album will be coming out, Damage Control, and just be on the lookout, and I will definitely be making the rounds with that one. Listen, you got to go to, speaking of Fake Jewels, you have to check out our jewelry store because it is Christmas time and we have just amazing, amazing pieces. We have
in celebration of Father Thor, in celebration of Mithra, in celebration of those Rothschilds who think they're related to Nimrod, and Nero, who used to put Christmas lights all over. It's just winter solstice, total sell-a-thon. These great jewels. You gotta buy, obey and buy. All right, go ahead.
But you gotta buy it anyway because still the kids and people still love it and it's still nice. And we bought plenty of gifts for people. So, I don't disbelieve it, neither do you. But we still just like discussing the concepts of
Hanukkah.
Yeah, and happy Hanukkah and happy whatever else you celebrate, Kwanzaa, this time of year.
Oh, but you gotta go to Antique Obsessions, like you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, go to Etsy. First, I'm going to give you the Etsy store. It's etsy.com/shop/ one word Antique Obsessions, or just type in etsy.com Antique Obsessions, one word, or type in etsy.com, type in /shop/ conceptual subculture, or just go. I'm sure if you just put in quotes conceptual subculture, you'll get one of our stores at 50% off right now. And we have fabulous, all kinds of chokers that are really hot that just came out. We have some beautiful cuffs, sterling cuffs with natural stones, gemstones. A lot of our rubies are moving fast. I just made a couple of ruby earrings with raw gemstones, untreated, just gorgeous, raw, rough, natural hand-wired solid sterling drop earrings from Maguk, Burma, which we're not allowed to have, and I have some just amazing new pieces. We have people that are just trying to put a lot of our things on layaway, which I really not really that big on. I mean, like 5 people came at me this week.
Absolutely. Our jewels are absolutely amazing. You have to go. You have to check them out. Buy them now. Rubies and emeralds, just like that awesome new track of yours. And you know what else is amazing? I saw this article, 2 sons over Indonesia. I mean, I'm not really big on that Nibiru conspiracy crap because I know it's all Masonic and they got the black earth that's in between the 2 Masonic pillars. It's all just Masonic Arabic sage from back in the day, mumbo jumbo, right? But really, I mean, I'm looking at it right here in front of me.
No.
2 suns in Indonesia.
Yeah, no.
Is that a hoax?
Yes, because
it's a phantom sun.
Yes, Bruce. Do you remember
in Indonesia?
Do you remember Beowulf, the person we used to?
Yes.
Okay, he worked with the Lucifer telescope from the Vatican for some reason, and he did some investigation on many of those double sun things, and even at the best of them, they were all photoshopped. I mean, I could tell you as a photographer and a graphic designer.
Well, you'd have to check out what the Indonesians are talking about. I mean, maybe they're
trying to control them. They're trying to upset them and make them believe anything.
It's a psyop. It's a psychological operation, Masonic operation.
It's a good bedtime story, And
it's a Nazi bedtime story.
And Bigfoot will come at you at night and bang the hell out of you if you're horny.
Oh my God!
Okay,
I don't want Bigfoot to do that.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe
you know what I want.
I'm just saying.
Okay, yes, whatever. It's just kind of an awesome sight. I mean, 2 suns. It feels like you're standing in Tatooine. in Star Wars, like that episode in
you just take a very
A New Hope.
low level functioning people with just limited imagination and education, and they can tell them anything, and they don't have enough.
I mentioned A New Hope. I wanted to cover this article here by the Telegraph inside the Church of Jediism, what it's like to follow the Force, and you can find that on the Telegraph. But it shows Obi-Wan Kenobi here. But I talked about it with Jordan Maxwell, that basically being a Jedi is no different than being a Freemason.
That's right, like Druid.
Or a Druid.
Yeah.
It's Druidical. And, we talked earlier in the show how they're propagating this propaganda with the battleships in space. Supposedly the military, MIC, has battleships in space. But you said a very interesting point. You had a very interesting point. It's just satellites you should worry about, and you should definitely worry about the satellites. Remember back in September 15th of 2015, the Pope warned that there would be a forthcoming event of hellfire from above. Well, there's been a couple of those events, and we know that the Jesuits under the Star Wars program, they have the Rods of God and Project Thor. Okay, it's Christmas time. Again, Thor. So they actually have the ability to drop missiles from space, and that's been depicted in cartoons, Viacom cartoons, or Illuminati cartoons, like Jah Jah. They've actually depicted that technology.
Or maybe they can just launch it from China.
But when you hear the Pope say that's what he's referring to.
Okay, but that could be a lie too. They could maybe launch it from Antarctica and up it through space, and then guide it so it looks like you're,
the guy in that movie even looks like the Pope. Remember watching that film? He looks exactly like the Pope. And what does he do? He drops hellfire from above. But you're not going to have to worry about this dope any longer, because apparently it came out of his own words. He will abdicate the throne in 2016. I will abdicate the throne in 2016.
Okay, speaking of the Pope, you must listen to Bruce's Pope rap, and it is reaching like 1,400 views already and listens.
Something like that.
It was a joke, and he's got to make a part two. So.
I will, but it's a joke, just like the Republicans and the Democrats. I mean, it's even explained to you in the Matrix. They have you take the red pill, right? Or you take the blue pill. What's the blue pill? The Democrats. What's the red pill? The Republicans. You see it everywhere.
That's what they're showing me on Google, the Force. They're showing me a red laser beam for Star Wars and a blue one. They're saying
that's the thing. We're all going to go to hell if we vote for either one of these. We're all going to hell with these Jesuit, Sith, Illuminati, Republican candidates. They're all agents of the freaking New World Order. They're just bantering for one world government.
Yep.
I mean, you have. They want you to believe it's like Ultimate Fighter, Rubio versus Cruz, brother. Well, that whole immigration clash they're supposed to have. But really, both of them are just fighting to grant amnesty and blah, blah, blah. That's really what it is. They're both working
have some cool
to
toys.
bring in these Syrians. How are you going to spend... Now you're spending $11 trillion that you don't have, and then you're going to bring in people who really are just going to be a burden upon the American people in a way, because you're supposed to... why are you going to worry about Syria when you got to worry about Detroit or Skid Row? Right? But no, you don't have to worry about them. That's the thing. You're seeing a total kind of... the Nazis are using Islam to bring in their one world order. They're using it.
Yes.
They're definitely
any way
using
they
it.
want. They're using people's ignorance and susceptibility, and they'll go right to the imams, the head of their communities, and they'll be just as shiesty as the evangelical priest that's trying to pocket. What's up with that priest that got caught? Like, what was his problem? They caught stealing millions of dollars.
A priest out in the Bronx who was stealing millions of dollars
and using it for
and
escort.
using it for gay sex with a guy that
S&M.
looks like Rob Halford from a master friggin'.
Yeah, and they kept saying, hard sex, on the news, and like S&M sex, and like.
But that's the life of a Jesuit Vatican assassin.
Okay,
that's
so
how they
if they're
live.
all like that, then why is he being exposed? Maybe he didn't suck a good enough dick.
Well, either that, if being a priest or the priesthood doesn't work out for this guy, he should go into hip hop, because they like to put niggas in skirts in hip hop now, and gay boule.
Wait a second, I got it. I know the answer.
And that's the thing.
They want you to be a pedophile. the thing is that they want you to be a straight pedophile. Now that's the new fashion. He was just a normal gay man with normal gay fetishes.
Who knows what that priest from the Bronx was into? Apparently, it was some very squirrely and obscene.
But it was still normal gay sex with a consensual adult.
No, it looked like
he
was dancing with like a male dancer. Like
exactly, and they were two consenting adults.
One of the game's friends. I don't know,
but they were not children. They were two consenting adults, and maybe that's not in fashion right now in the Vatican. You never know. You don't know what they're perpetrating. You know, maybe it's straight pedophilia sex this year. Who knows? I don't know these people. I'm Jewish. I don't know jack about the Vatican. It just is all. I just read about pedophiles and stuff in the Vatican. That's what I do.
And they're no different than the Republicans, who are into snuff and into just all sorts of just grotesque things, folks. I mean, these people are disgusting. They parade around on your television like they're grandiose, but really, if you put the glasses on, they're just disgusting beings. These neocons. It doesn't matter what shade they come into. They're all two shades of shiza. But anyway, folks, that concludes this episode of the Bruce Montalvo Show. We've exposed the GOP for what it is.
Thanks for listening.
Scum, Jesuit trash. They're all scum, and they all got their hands inside their pockets like Stalin. So what did Stalin say? It doesn't matter who votes, who counts the votes. So all you idiots out there that believe in all this good government bullshit, you're a bunch of dumb fucks. And
you know what? Support our stores. It is Christmas time. We have a few sales going on. And you can maybe, who knows, maybe our energy will rub off on you and you'll have the They Live glasses just like Roddy Piper. If they listen enough and they're not chicken, then you can see. You will see. Thank you for listening, folks. And again, from the epicenter of cool Brooklyn, New York, Fridays, live, 9 p.m. Eastern on TalkStreamLive.com, Spreaker.com. This is the Bruce Montalvo Show signing out. Till next time. Peace.
Not the music you were expecting? Know what you're getting into with your music and your internet. Straight Up Internet is $50 all in, no hidden fees. And like this music, you can even pause it. Straight Up Internet. Know what you're getting into.
Banner University Medicine is dedicated to bringing the best medical care to the Tucson community. Our newest hospital was designed with your health in mind. With 228 private patient rooms, 22 operating rooms, and more than $50 million in patient care technology, your care and comfort are our top priority. Banner University Medicine, making Tucson's future brighter and your visits easier. Now open at 1625 North Campbell Avenue. Online at bannerhealth.com/University Tucson.